soft ambient sound of morning birds, footsteps on gravel, a school bell ringing. The morning sun had just begun to rise over the green hills of St. Agnes Girls High School. The air was cool, the grass still kissed with dew, and from every corner of the dormitories, the sound of sleepy footsteps echoed. It was another new day, another day of laughter, whispers, and dreams under the watchful eyes of the teachers. On the assembly ground, hundreds of girls stood in neat lines, their navy blue skirts brushing softly against each other as the wind passed. Some were yawning, others chatting quietly, and a few, the serious ones, clutched their hymn books tightly. At the center of it all stood Tery Mwende, tall, striking, and effortlessly beautiful. Her shoes gleamed. Her perfume lingered in the air. Everyone knew Tery, the girl from the wealthy family, the one whose father owned bus companies and whose mother ran a famous boutique. She had everything except humility. Beside her was Rita, her loyal friend, always laughing at her jokes even when they weren't funny. And a few lines away stood Naliaka, the quiet, brilliant girl who never seemed to fit in but whose light could not be dimmed. Sound of students singing the national anthem. As the anthem ended, the principal, Madame Ojuer, stepped forward. Her voice was firm, filled with experience. "Girls," she said, "discipline is the bridge between dreams and success. Without it, you will drown in failure." The students clapped politely. But Tery only smirked, whispering to Rita, "Success is about money, not rules." Rita giggled, covering her mouth. The prefect glared, but Tery's eyes stayed cold and proud. In her world, rules were for the poor. That evening, in the dormitory, Tery's real power revealed itself. Her suitcase was always full: biscuits, perfumes, body lotion, sweets, even expensive pens. The other girls gathered around her like bees to honey. "Take what you want," she'd say, smiling. "We're all friends here." But it wasn't friendship. It was control. And slowly, her circle grew, girls who'd do anything for her attention, anything for her approval. Naliaka kept her distance. She focused on her books, ignoring the noise. But that only made Tery's group whisper louder. By the end of the term, they had given Naliaka a nickname, the Reverend. They mocked her simple shoes and her dedication to study. And when she topped the exams, they didn't clap. They sneered. Soft wind blowing through trees, chatter fading into silence. The next term arrived with the sound of rain on the rooftops and fresh notebooks filled with dreams. During break time, Tery found Naliaka sitting under a mango tree, reading quietly. "Do you ever get tired of pretending you're better than everyone?" Tery asked. "I'm not pretending," Naliaka said, closing her book. "I'm just trying to do my best." Tery laughed softly. "Your best won't buy you a car or a mansion. The world doesn't care about books." Then she turned away, leaving behind the scent of arrogance. And that night, Naliaka's shoes disappeared. Her locker was vandalized. Someone poured water on her bed. But no one said a word, because everyone knew who ruled the dormitory. Days passed. The compound of St. Agnes buzzed with life, red soil paths, echoing laughter, and the clatter of plates in the dining hall. During games time, girls ran across the field shouting and cheering. But Tery's group sat under the trees, painting their nails and gossiping about teachers. In the laboratory, while the rest studied frog anatomy, Tery made jokes about how even the frogs were smarter than Naliaka. The others laughed, and for a moment, the classroom became a cruel theater. Madame Wanza, the biology teacher, slammed her ruler. "This is not a market. Respect your learning." The girls fell silent. But in Tery's eyes, rebellion burned quietly. Soft night sounds, crickets chirping. By second term, the night meetings had begun. Behind the dining hall, under the dim glow of the moon, Tery and her followers gathered. They whispered, laughed, shared forbidden snacks, and something darker. A cousin from university had given Tery small white tablets. "Just to relax," she said. Soon, The girls were experimenting, their laughter louder, their eyes distant. A few even sneaked cigarettes from the gardener's pocket. It started as curiosity, then became addiction. One night, Naliaka saw them sneaking back, the smell of perfume and smoke clinging to their uniforms. She tried to warn her friend Mary. "Don't join them. They'll pull you down." But Mary only sighed. "Tery makes life easy. She gives you things, protection." And so, the infection of influence spread. The truth came out one rainy evening. During study time, a prefect noticed smoke curling near the dorm windows. Within minutes, the dorm was raided. Hidden behind Tery's bed was a small tin, cigarette butts, papers with powdery dust, and a lighter. "Tery Mwende," the prefect said sternly, "you're in trouble." Tery crossed her arms. "That's not mine." Her group defended her, swearing innocence. But the evidence was clear. Madame Ojuer summoned her to the office. "Tery," she said softly, "you're a bright girl. You have a future. Don't throw it away for cheap thrills." Tery's lips tightened. "Maybe I don't want the future you dream for me." Her father arrived in a shiny black car, demanding respect, threatening lawyers. Money brushed the matter aside. But the teacher's trust, that was gone forever. Transition to exam sounds, pens scratching, papers rustling. The third term came. The heat was merciless, and the air smelled of chalk and tension. Mock exams were near, and everyone was on edge. Naliaka studied even during meals, her notebook open beside her plate. Tery, however, had other plans. During the first exam, an invigilator noticed her whispering to Rita. A small piece of paper slipped from her sleeve. Then another from her shoe. Caught. The classroom froze. By afternoon, the entire school knew Tery Mwende, the proud, untouchable Tery, had cheated. Sound of murmuring crowd, principal's voice echoing over a microphone. At assembly, Madame Ojuer's voice thundered. "You have betrayed your school, your parents, and yourselves." Tery stood at the front, expressionless, the sun glaring in her eyes. She didn't cry. She didn't flinch. She simply stared into the distance, maybe realizing for the first time how far she had fallen. She was suspended for 2 weeks. And when she came back, her empire had crumbled. The girls who once worshipped her now walked past in silence. Even Rita avoided her gaze. Night ambience, soft wind, distant laughter. One quiet night, Tery sat alone behind the dormitory. The moon was full, the cricket singing. She hugged her knees, tears glistening in her eyes. Naliaka passed by, carrying her torch. She hesitated, then stopped. "You should rest," Naliaka said gently. Tery looked up, startled. "Why do you care? After everything?" Naliaka smiled faintly. "Because you can still change. You just forgot who you are." And in that small moment, something inside Tery cracked. Not from pain, but realization. Transition to exam sounds again. Clock ticking, quiet. Final exams arrived. The school grew silent as a church. Every step echoed in the halls. Every page turned sounded like thunder. Tery sat quietly, pen trembling in her hand. For once, she was truly afraid, not of teachers, not of punishment, but of her own reflection. Weeks later, results came. Naliaka had topped the nation, her dream alive, her hope shining. Tery had failed miserably. Her father shouted. Her mother wept. But Tery only sat still, her mind replaying every choice she had made. Years passed. One bright morning, St. Agnes was alive again, a celebration day. A guest speaker had come, Dr. Naliaka Wekesa, now a respected doctor, graceful and confident. She stood before the girls, her voice calm and full of wisdom. "Your beauty will fade," she said. "Your friends may change. But your character, that is what remains. Choose who you want to become, and guard it fiercely." The girls clapped loudly, their eyes shining. At the back of the hall, unnoticed by most, sat a woman in plain clothes. Her once radiant face was tired, her eyes soft with regret. It was Tery. She had come quietly not to be seen, only to listen. And when Naliaka's eyes met hers, there was no anger. Only forgiveness. Tery bowed her head. And for the first time in years, she smiled. A true, humble smile. Soft music fades in, hopeful tone. And that, my dear listener, is the story of St. Agnes Girls High School. A place where dreams were born and pride was buried. Where friendship was tested and forgiveness triumphed. Because no matter where we come from, rich or poor, the choices we make are the true measure of who we are.